HR professionals, still here in Sevierville at the Wimberly Lawson 40th anniversary conference. That's incredible to me. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous. Great firm. So I have with me Kelly Campbell, and she's going to tell us the right and wrong way to fire someone.
Okay. I'll give you a couple of important hints. I think two of the most important things is to properly investigate, to make sure that you adequately look into all of the allegations surrounding the
So we're talking about terminating for cause.
Terminating for cause, for misconduct or violation of company policy. So make sure you thoroughly investigate, and then preparation for the meeting. So I've been guilty of this myself. When you've had a situation where you need to let an employee go, you do, and you rush into it without thoroughly preparing what you're going to say, what you need to say. So prepare beforehand
Good
what
advice.
you're going to say to that employee, because there are going to be questions they're going to ask.
And let's also say this. It should never be a surprise to an employee when they're terminated, right?
Except for very egregious conduct.
Right. But I mean, most cases, they're going to know up front that they're not performing well, or that they have broken some policy. Or
if it's performance-related discharge, then you definitely need to give that employee an opportunity to improve before you fire them.
Give them the tools to succeed, see if they can make it.
Keep in mind the fairness factor and the respect factor. Employees shouldn't be surprised when they go into a meeting, especially if it's performance-related and they've been warned beforehand that their job is in jeopardy. They shouldn't be surprised if they fail to perform up to company standards, and then they are fired for it. And then you need to treat them with respect in that meeting. I know my partner in the meeting, he quoted Maya Angelou about it's not, they may not remember what you say or what you do, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And I'm paraphrasing. It's not exactly from, but it's so important. It's so important. It's how you make that employee feel during that meeting. It's not a pleasant meeting, but never will be, but you can treat them with respect and leave them feeling hopefully as well as possible under the circumstances.
What do you think about letters of recommendation? Not for someone who's terminated for cause, but sometimes you let people go, and it's mostly because they're not a good fit for the organization, but they've done nothing wrong.
It depends on the circumstances, of course, and I think it depends on company policy. Whether you have if you have an employee that leaves under good circumstances or under where it did not involve their misconduct, then certainly I think it's appropriate to help them to move on to something else. If it was circumstances outside of your control and their control, then why not write them a letter of recommendation? But be careful what you put in there.
I know, and a lot of people won't do that. And some companies prohibit it.
Some big companies do. You need to, of course, if you've got a company policy, abide by your policy consistently.
But there's nothing wrong with the manager writing a personal letter of recommendation if they feel like the person deserves it.
Again, you need to make sure that manager abides by whatever their company policy is.
So even if it's a personal, not on company stationery, and not referring
even if it's not on company stationery, if they're writing a letter of recommendation regarding an employee that was under their management or an employee of the company, a company can still have a policy prohibiting. So again, I'd advise them to look at whatever company policy is and make sure that this is acceptable under whatever company policy is.
Good advice. Well, all right. Well, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's one of the hardest things you have to do.
It is.
And another thing one more little thing I want to talk about. Managers who make HR professionals do the terminating. That is not appropriate, right? Managers should terminate the hiring manager should also be the terminating manager.
Well, in a lot of companies, they don't have a hiring manager position. It depends on the size of the company, of course.
Okay.
But I think HR should always be
involved for sure
in the situation, because in my years of practice, I have seen time and time again that supervisors and managers have not been adequately trained.
That's true.
As to what they can say and can't say, and what they should do and should not do in this type of setting. And so just turning the whole process over to a manager who may or may not have the skills to do that I'd be a little concerned about. So I think HR should always be involved in the
And
process.
they should have an HR rep at least in on the termination so that you can
Yes.
help with advice on benefits and
I agree.
unemployment and things like that, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you guys stay tuned because we've got several more interviews coming up this afternoon, and you're going to find out everything you need to know about employment law here at this conference. So stay tuned.